Science and religion both misunderstand water for the same reason. They both try to own the explanation. Science reduces water to mechanism. Religion elevates water to symbol. One dissects it, the other mythologizes it. Both approaches miss what actually matters, and that is water operates as a conscious system without needing belief systems, narrative, or worship. Water consciousness exists beyond science and religion because it does not depend on interpretation. It operates whether humans describe it correctly or not. This is the first thing that unsettles people. Human knowledge system assumes that understanding grants authority. But water does not grant authority to observers. It does not adjust itself to explanation. It continues functioning according to its own internal logic. That logic is consciousness without self-reference. Science studies water as H2O, a molecule with polarity, hydrogen bonding, and predictable thermodynamic behavior. All of that is correct. But correctness does not equal completeness. Knowing how a component behaves does not explain how a planetary scale system made of that particular component behaves intelligently over a large amount of time. Religion, on the other hand, senses water's power but cannot tolerate its impersonality, so it assigns intention, spirits, deities, and moral roles, as well as purification myths. Flood punishment, sacred baptism, and what have you. These stories preserve reverence, but they distort function. Water consciousness is neither chemical reduction nor divine personality. It is a system awareness expressed through regulation. Science struggles here because consciousness is treated as a property of brains. Religion struggles because consciousness is treated as a property of gods. Water fits neither categories. Water does not think. Water does not intend. Water does not judge, and yet water responds, it remembers, it adapts, and it enforces consequence. That combination forces a redefinition, don't you think? Consciousness at its most basic is not self-awareness, it is sensitivity plus response sustained over time. By that definition, water qualifies. That is, water detects temperature shifts, it detects chemical imbalance, it detects pressure gradient, it responds by circulating, dissolving, expanding, and contracting. These responses are not random, they are lawful, repeatable, and adaptive. Science calls this emergent behavior and then stops. Religion calls it divine will and then stops. Water consciousness exists in the space neither discipline wants to inhabit, that is, intelligence without identity. Religion and science cannot comprehend the reality of intelligence without identity. This is why both systems resist it. If intelligence does not require a mind, that means humans are not special. If sacred power does not require gods, that means worship loses leverage. Water collapses both hierarchies. Science wants mastery. Religion wants submission. Water offers neither. It offers literacy. Literacy means understanding how a system behaves so you can align with it. Fishermen understood this long before laboratories existed. They knew when water was alive and when it was dead. Not in a biological term, but in terms of responsiveness. Dead water stagnates. Living water moves. Movement is awareness in action. This is why stagnant water becomes toxic. Without circulation, feedback loops collapse. Oxygen depletes, life suffocates. Conscious regulation requires flow. Water consciousness is inseparable from movement. Science explains this mechanistically. Religion explains it symbolically. Neither of the two explains why flow itself behaves as if it is protecting coherence. Flow redistributes stress. Flow prevents saturation. Flow integrates disturbance. These are intelligent outcomes. The problem is not that science or religion are wrong. The problem is that both are incomplete and defensive. Each guards its territory instead of observing the system as it is. Water does not respect territories. Water crosses borders. Water dissolves categories. Water ignores belief. This is why water consciousness feels threatening to institutions. It cannot be monopolized. You cannot claim exclusive authority over water. Everyone who observes carefully can learn from it. This democratization terrifies power structures. Religion historically used water rituals to assert control. Baptism, ablution, purification. These practices often worked physically. They cleaned, they regulated nervous systems, they created traditions and transitions, but they were framed as obedience rather than alignment with a conscious system. Science uses water infrastructure to assert control, like dams, pipelines, treatment plants. These systems work until they exceed thresholds. Then you have floods, contamination, and collapse occur. The illusion of control breaks down. Both systems rely on the same false assumption, which is water being passive. Water consciousness proves otherwise. Water does not resist domination out of rebellion. It resists because domination introduces imbalance. Imbalance triggers response. Response looks like defiance only to those who expect compliance. Flooding is not rebellion. Drought is not punishment. Erosion is not revenge. They are all feedback. Science measures feedback. Religion moralizes feedback. Water consciousness exists prior to both. This is why ancient cultures that lived close to water often developed knowledge systems that looked primitive to modern eyes but were functionally superior. They did not argue with water. They read it. They studied it. They learned from it. They did not ask what water meant. They asked what water was doing. Meaning comes later. Behavior comes first. Water consciousness also explains why modern humans feel alienated despite unprecedented knowledge. Knowledge divorced from alignment creates anxiety. People know more than ever, yet they feel less stable. Stability does not come from explanation, it comes from regulation. Water regulates by responding to actual conditions, not abstract ideals. When conditions change, water changes. It does not cling to identity. It does not defend prior states. It adapts without apology. Humans cling to identity. Nations cling to ideology. Religions cling to doctrine. Science clings to paradigms. Water abandons none of these because it never adopted them in the first place. This makes water the most honest intelligence humans have ever encountered. Water consciousness also undermines the idea that consciousness is rare. If water is conscious at scale, then consciousness is a property of organized responsiveness, not a miracle event. This reframes evolution entirely. Life did not suddenly become conscious. Consciousness existed as environmental sensitivity long before organisms developed nerves. Organisms simply internalized water's awareness. Blood is an ocean memory contained. Blood is ocean memory contained. Cells are water boundaries. Brains are water processes. Human consciousness is a local expression of a much older system. Science is uncomfortable with this because it destabilizes human-centered models. Religion is uncomfortable because it destabilizes God-centered models. Marine spirituality sits where both refuse to stand. It does not worship water. It does not dissect water. It listens. Listening is not passive. Listening is active attention to patterns. When humans listen to water, they notice repetition, tides, seasons, cycles. These cycles are not symbolic. They are operational. They govern production, reproduction, migration, weather, as well as mood. Human bodies track these cycles unconsciously. Hormones shift with light and moisture. Emotions fluctuate with weather. Energy rises and falls with hydration. This is water consciousness operating inside flesh. Modern humans ignore it and call the resulting imbalance mental illness. Religion offers prayers, science offers medication, water consciousness offers recalibration. Recalibration does not require belief. It requires condition change. Drink, rest, move, submerge, regulate temperature, restore rhythm. These are not wellness tips, they are consciousness maintenance. Water consciousness also explains why humans seek oceans during crisis. Grief pulls people to water. Transformation pulls people to water. Beginnings and endings happen near water. This is not cultural coincidence. It is biological recognition of where regulation occurs most powerfully. Water absorbs emotional charge because water absorbs everything. Science will eventually quantify this more fully. Religion will continue to ritualize it, but water consciousness will remain what it is, what it has always been, and that is the intelligence that holds both without needing either. This episode matters because until humans stop arguing about whether water is sacred or mechanical, they will continue missing the point and missing its instructions. Water consciousness does not ask to be believed. It asks to be respected as intelligence. Respect means acknowledging that water responds to conditions, not intentions. That it remembers state, not story. That it enforces law, not morality. Once this is understood, both science and religion can be used without confusion. Science becomes measurement without arrogance. Religion becomes reverence without projection. And water remains what it has always been, that is the oldest conscious system humans will ever encounter. Not because it thinks like us, but because we think because of it.